Hey guys, we're going to start a new unit today. Super excited about that. And we're going to be solving quadratics. And so I wanted to show you guys real quick an app that I have on my phone. Okay, I have both of these, and I know I mentioned the other one before, but I keep the Desmos app on my phone. And I know some of you have that. And then the other one is this one called Graph and Calc. I don't know if you can, it's pretty blurry. I have an iPhone. It's free on iPhone, and I'm pretty sure it's free on Android too. So if these are things that you want to get, go ahead. I'm going to give you some more options for graphing calculators here in a minute. Okay, so day one, what we're talking about right now is solving quadratics with a calculator. We're going to be graphing. And so I just showed you that app I have on my phone. And then these instructions that I'm going to give you are with that app, that graph and calc. It should work the same. The graph and calc. Okay, this should work with your TI 84, 83, whatever you have. The TI 80 Texas Instruments have a free app for your Chromebook. I'll put some instructions up in this folder about how to get that app on your Chromebook. If you want it, I'll put that in our quadratics folder, our Unit 11 folder. And then I'm going to kind of go through how to find these things on Desmos and with the graphing calculator. I got my free one today. I haven't used it once yet, but I think it should be okay. So we'll find out, won't we? So I am ready to show you, and then I have Desmos up on my screen as well. So here's my Desmos, and I'm ready to go on that. So we are going to look at our parabolas, and what we're doing today, for example, is looking for the vertex, and then we're looking for the zero. So remember, the vertex is that either that up and that turnaround point, the min or the max. Okay, and the zeros is where we cross the x-axis. Okay, so we're looking for those things now. So I've got my example, 3x squared plus 10x. So let's try with this first to find the vertex. In your Y1 button, you're going to type 3x squared plus 10x. Okay. Oops, that's 100x. Delete, delete, delete. Okay, plus 10x. And when you want to see these, I usually go, Zoom tells you how to do the window. Zoom 6 is my favorite, okay, because it's a standard zoom. And I can see my parabola here, looks good. And I can tell the vertex is down there. So you're going to use this calc menu. It's above trace. Hopefully you can see here. So you're going to go second calc. Okay, it's right above the trace menu, and you can see I have the instructions here. And we're going to either look for a minimum or a maximum. And we saw this one, and it's a smile. So this one has a minimum. And it's going to ask you left boundary. And you're going to hit the arrow button over. And you're going to say, well, I think the vertex is around there. So somewhere to the left of it is here. And hit enter. And notice it gave a boundary. And then it wants a right boundary. And so you need to give it a right boundary. So now you're telling the calculator, look somewhere between these two boundaries that I gave you. And then it asks you for a guess. And my guess is that it's right here. And I'm going to hit enter. And I did. I got negative 1.7 and negative 8.3. So negative 1.7, negative 8.3. And you'll notice this was negative 1 2/3. Negative 8 1/3 if we didn't round. Okay, so that was finding our vertex on your TI 83, 84 calculator. Okay. To find the zeros, we're going to use that same menu, that calc menu. So I'm going to go back to second and calc. And I can tell that this one has second calc. There we go. I have 2 zeros. So I'm going to, right, it had a spot, 2 different spots. So I need to do this whole process twice. So I'm going to choose to find a 0, number 2. And you're going to do that same process where it wants to know a left boundary and a right boundary. So my 0 is about there. So I'm going to give it a left boundary and a right boundary. And then guess. And I got negative 3 1/3, comma 0. Okay, and then you would do this again for the other one. Okay, I'm finding zeros for this one. I realized that there's a second equation here, but I wasn't using it. I'm going to type this same equation into Desmos now and show you the same process on Desmos. So 3x squared, let's see if we can get this going here. 3x squared plus 10x. So the nice part about Desmos, and the reason we all like it so much, is it's super easy to use. So to find the vertex, I just go touch. Right? And to find my zeros, I just touch, and there they are. So if you have, your phone on Desmos and your assignment up on your screen, it should be pretty easy. Okay, so now that I've shown you a couple different ways, and the options should be the same for this graph in calc as they were for our TI-84. So what are we using this for? We are going to be looking at these equations and finding zeros and graphing them. So this whole chapter is called Solving Quadratics. And to solve a quadratic, you find the zeros. Okay, they are important pieces of information. So to solve, you find. And one way to do it is to look at the graph. And if we have Desmos going, it's super easy to just look at the graph and decide what we need. So in this equation, and this is on your worksheet, so you should feel good about me doing maybe one or two of these for you. I already know the vertex because this is in vertex form. So that's going to be super easy for me. -3, -7. Okay, and then that would be here. And then I need to know the zeros, and that's all I'm going to use to graph right now. So I'm going to type in 1/2 x plus 3 squared minus 7. And if you remember from transformations, this 1/2 should make it look wider. It's a vertical compression. So 1/2 x plus 3, 1/2 x plus 3 squared, and I think it was minus 7. Okay, and then our -3, -7. You'll see Desmos also plotted the intercept for us. You can find that using your TI-84 calculator as well. That would be in your second calc menu as an intersection, I believe. Or you could type in the value for when x equals 0, and it would give you the y value. And then, oops, I need my zeros back on Desmos. I am just going to touch on these, and see, I'm not making you solve these by hand or anything because look at them. They're kind of icky decimals. So -6.742 is one of them. And then the other one was +0.742. And I'm just going to do my best to estimate these. 3, 4, 5, something like that. And then that. And if you wanted to put 0 to, -2.5 on there to help you out, you could totally do that. So what's the main goal of this lesson? Can you graph a parabola to find the zeros? Do you have to do it by yourself? No. Use a graphing calculator of some sort. Okay, so again, your choices. App on your phone, Desmos, the graphing calculator app. I'm going to give you the link to get the TI-84 calculator for free right now on your Chromebook. Or you can just use Desmos in your web browser, and they all work the same. You just need to be able to find the zeros. Another way to say solve a quadratic. Find the zeros by graphing. Find the vertex by graphing too, if you need to.